What is going on, everybody? It is episode 345 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. How you doing today? Introduce yourself.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I'm just so low energy today. I barely made it out of bed, but I'm here. I'm going to try my best to podcast my little heart out for you guys, as I always do. And today, to help us, is Phil Avanti.
Hi. I have no sympathy.
And Phil is always higher energy, so we're good today. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. The headline for today's episode said Netflix gun and Netflix, and that's what they do. We've got the Queen Cleopatra documentary that's being produced by Jada Pinkett Smith. You'll go watch it after this is done, or look at thumbnails of it, maybe, if you want to also watch this podcast and talk about it. And they talk a lot about the race of Cleopatra. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to combine it with some stuff that's coming out about the Marvels, because both of these are being downvoted into oblivion right now, which is always good to see democracy actually working. That's actual democracy. We're going to talk about voice AI. In this case, voice actors are scared they're going to be losing work to AI systems, so, you know, everybody's kind of quaking in their boots. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that Emily Ratatouille says that she left Hollywood.
Is that her name, Ratatouille?
No, it's
okay.
Ratajkowski. We
Few
call her.
people know that that's how it's pronounced, Ratatouille.
All right.
We say Ratatouille to be dismissive and rude.
Fair enough. Yes.
So we're going to talk about that. She basically said that she felt like a piece of meat in Hollywood, therefore she quit acting, with big quotation marks, quit acting. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the Harry Potter hullabaloo, which is ridiculous and over the top. I made a
People
post
are
about
still
it.
pissed off about Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, in this case, it's because they're making a live action television show about it, and now they're discussing the television show. Politics gets drug into it, unfortunately.
Transes. It's all about J.K. Rowling being a turf.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. Mary, if you've got the energy, are you ready to get going?
I'm going to try my best.
She's doing your best. Phil. We're going to...
Thank you, Phil.
We're just going to go. All right, guys. So we're going to get started. So to give a couple of announcements to begin the day, Jamie Foxx was hospitalized for a medical complication. They didn't list what that was, which is scarier to me, almost, to not mention what that complication could be. I don't know if he had a heart attack or something like that, but they made a point of bringing it up that he's already talking again and coherent, which is kind of scary.
Communicating now. Yeah, and that's good news.
He's communicating. That's kind of scary. Jamie Foxx is kind of a national treasure. I get a kick out of Jamie Foxx. I love Jamie. Like, did you see that thing when he was talking about like running into all of the Trump supporters out on like a yacht or like a pontoon or something like that, and he was talking about like how he got along with all of them?
Well, that's good.
No.
I mean, you know, they treated him like a person, and he treated them like people, and things go well when people do that to each other.
That was back in 2016?
No, this was like last year or something. Like this was like during COVID and everything like that. It was an interesting discussion.
It's so relatable that he was on a yacht during COVID.
Yes, I know, right?
Socializing at a party.
Might have just been
during COVID.
Who knows?
Very everyman energy there.
Yeah. So we got that. I hope he's okay. Like that's always a scary thing to see. I recently did just rewatch the Miami Vice movie, which nobody likes but me, and he kind of ruined it because he apparently gunshots could be heard by them in the Dominican Republic when they were filming this movie, and he's left and refused to go back, and that's where the final scene of the movie was supposed to be shot, so they had to reshoot the whole ending to the movie because he wouldn't come back there. So I like Jamie Foxx.
You can hear gunshots in Chicago.
Yeah.
Hear gunshots all over. I heard a bunch of gunshots last night.
There you go.
You know,
they love your Oakleys.
Do they really? Oh, actually, they probably don't love it.
No, I was made fun of for not knowing what Oakleys were.
She didn't know what Oakleys were.
They're very good eye protection.
You use them for shooting. Yeah.
We've got a super chat from Hobbit that said, "Happy Thursday. Glad to see the fantastic Phil on board today. Here for my dose of pop culture cringe and hopefully to laugh it into shame with the rest of y'all.
I love that. I love that the impromptu name or the undercover name is pop culture cringe.
Yes. Well, I do have one particular small bit of cringe today. I also have a daily cute of the day today, which we started implementing yesterday. Today will be much like the yin and the yang again. I've got both.
Adding adorable.
Yes, it's always good to have something adorable. Also, I want to point out this article that contradicts everything they've been saying about how they're going to cast the next James Bond, and that's them saying that a younger actor simply doesn't have the experience to play James Bond or the gravitas, which I actually would agree with.
I do too.
But they said Barbara Broccoli and them were saying basically that they were going to cast younger, and I'm kind of sick of it. I don't want younger.
I'm not buying a 25-year-old James Bond.
No.
Nothing wrong with 25-year-olds. There's plenty of roles for 25-year-olds, but a 25-year-old James Bond, nah.
Yeah.
I want James Bond to be probably in his early 40s.
It's why
like
I don't
full-grown
like.
adult.
It's one of the reasons like a lot of superhero movies are starting. They're just casting younger and younger and younger.
Yeah.
And there's no like weight to anything they do because they still act like kids.
Got to be 35. Got to be president age.
Pierce Brosnan was in his. It was like 32, and Daniel Craig was 34. I think when he got cast.
Daniel
in that
Craig
role.
was?
I think
No.
he was, yeah.
I think he was older than that, wasn't he?
I think he was like 32 or 34.
Right.
Isn't part of this that people in their 20s look more babyish now than they used to?
Yeah.
Something's in the water. Some kind of endocrine disruption.
Nobody's
is going
struggling.
On.
Yeah, they're saying
right?
Daniel Craig was in his
Hard living
mid-30s.
made young actors more rugged and experienced looking, at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
maybe.
a lot of actors back in the day were coming back from war.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
Like, we're literally coming back from war.
And had plenty of experience to draw on.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because they mentioned, like, Layer Cake, which actually is a fun movie if you like that. But I liked I like Daniel Craig in the Tomb Raider movie, which he... have you ever seen the original Tomb Raider movie?
Not with Daniel Craig,
He
no.
does a horrible American accent, and Angelina Jolie does a horrible British accent for no reason.
Perfect.
Like, it's amazing. So
Yeah, Laura Croft is not British. I don't.
no, she is.
Oh,
right?
is she?
Yeah, she is. Lara Croft's British. But the point is, like, they had her do that. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But in that movie, he does this. His American accent is really bad. Like he actually does a really good one in Knives Out, which is like a Southern accent, right? Like
It's a Louisiana like Cajun accent, which I'm not a fan of personally.
But it's still like it was.
But it
better
was done
than,
accurately.
But that's an easier target, isn't it? I mean, if you're dealing with an accent that's like, if you're doing a regular, American news anchor kind of accent, it's very plain and very unassuming. If you're going for a Southern accent or a Brooklyn accent, there's so much more character.
Especially a very specific one.
Yeah, there's so much more character in that speaking, in that type of speaking. It's a little easier to kind of go for it and still be believable. Whereas if you're trying to do something very subtle and flat, I think that it's probably more difficult to like if you're trying to do a classic British accent, it's not as difficult as it is to do like the crazy Cockney one. What's up, man? God, nah, what? It's
yeah. Have
kind
you
of
watched
clown-like,
Peaky Blinders?
I know what Peaky Blinders is, but I have not seen it.
I tried to watch the pilot and I was just like, what is going on? I can't understand what anyone is saying. Genuinely. I probably need to do subtitles, which is very Gen Z of me.
I use subtitles for everything, but that's because I'm deaf in one ear. Like
Yeah.
I put subtitles on a lot of stuff, and then it ends up. What was I watching recently? I was watching something recently where like the character is like it was something where there's a lot of foreign language in it, so they're already putting subtitles on top of it. So I was getting subtitles on top of the subtitles, and it became like a weird type of like I couldn't read either of them because they
Starts
were.
to look like hieroglyphics.
Yeah, because the top one would be like kind of half opaque, like you could see through it, and so it would blend into the bottom one and just look like a weird mural in the middle of the screen. Didn't actually work.
It's like Indian letters, like the country India. I don't know what their letters are called, but.
Chat, feel free. Who do you think for a lot of people are saying that this puts Henry Cavill back in the mix if they are going to cast older because Henry Cavill's in his mid-30s.
Henry Cavill would be a good.
I think he's too bulky. I think he'd have to slim down. He looks like a boxer.
How much does he walk? What does he walk around at?
Like
though?
He should be Ken, not James Bond.
Yeah, he's too built for James Bond.
If they bleached
tall
Henry
is he?
Cavill's hair, he would have been Ken. But Greta Gerwig has a weird hard-on for Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
So.
I made a post the other day that said I'd like to see Johnny Lee Miller play a bad guy in Johnny from Hackers and from
Hackers.
Yeah. back in the day.
Who was that then? I don't remember. I remember Hackers because
he also played Sherlock Holmes in like the American version of in like the Sherlock Holmes television show that was here in America. It was called Elementary with Lucy Liu.
I'm familiar with the show. I can't.
He was also in Train Spotting.
I can't place his face, but I know who you're talking about.
Him and Idris Elba would both be good. He would be a good bad guy. I don't want him to play Bond.
I wouldn't even hate Idris Elba as Bond, but like I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, oh, blah 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 about the replacing with different.
Clef the Misfit says Matt Smith. That's an interesting choice. He's skinny enough.
Does he need to be skinny? And
I kind of want him to be skinnier. Like I just don't think that Henry Cavill is too kind of like rugged looking.
I think if you put him in the right wardrobe, he'd be fine.
He could like get himself leaner, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have to lose some weight. And
he's Ken. He's not James Bond.
Jacob Edler says Timothy Chalamet. No.
Why would it be him?
And somebody else said Austin Butler, and I said no to that too.
Timothy Chalamet should be a Bond villain who is like 16 years old.
Yeah.
And like works a control panel.
He could be Timothy Chalamet could play Q, like young Q. Because they have what's his name playing Q now, who's super
playing Q.
I don't know the actor's name, but he's
who's Moneypenny.
Right, it's Ray Fiennes, Voldemort from Harry Potter. He plays, or not Moneypenny. That's
I was gonna say, wait a minute, what?
They don't. The Moneypenny was she was in Venom 2. What's her name? Somebody will know in the chat. I don't remember her name. Somebody's saying John Leguizamo. That would be. Give it to John Leguizamo.
Yes. He needs the
validation.
Who was Moneypenny, guys? What's her name? I forgot off the top of my head. Sean Connery. He'd be. Idris Elba should have done it. Does it nobody know off the top of their head? I figured somebody would know off the top of their head. Naomi Harris. Yeah, she was.
They're refuting you saying Sean Connery was a bodybuilder, but was he on steroids?
But bodybuilder, like I would like. Could somebody do a side by side picture of Sean Connery next to
Henry Cavill? Henry Cavill's face shape is also wider.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to look bulkier than other anyway.
When I said yes, she's a man now, that's because the M before that was played by Judi Dench. So yes, it is what it is. We will see where it goes. But they originally were saying that it wasn't going to be an older Bond. It was going to be a younger one, and I hated that idea. And
I kind of agree. I think it's a bad idea.
This whole conversation is stupid because everyone is going to say he's too young or too old, no matter who you pick.
Yeah. So is there like a perfect age? 37. Razor Fist posted this the other day. Somebody posted this the other day. It says HBO Max getting rid of the brand HBO. They're saying that that's a good thing so that it's no longer associated with some of the worst content ever, like The Sopranos, The Wire, Band of Brothers, Game of Thrones, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Can't be true, right? Veep, Deadwood, and Silicon Valley. It has to be a troll, right?
Cannot be true. Cannot be true. Yeah. That is too on the point. They went right down like some of the best things that HBO has ever done. It's like all of their top. Yeah, that cannot be real.
Razor Fist response is like, today on takes so bad they bend both space and time.
Yeah, it can't be. I can't even.
Like all of those are like, there's like not like, I mean, there's a couple that I haven't seen. I haven't seen Veep, but I know a lot of people love Veep. But like those are all shows that are.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is hilarious.
Is it good?
I think she's hilarious.
Have you seen that show?
No,
but she's great in Seinfeld.
Yeah.
All right, and we do have Cute of the Day. Also, should I suggest Cute of the Day? What I was saying earlier. Submit for Cute of the Day.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. S&M.
No. I want people to send to the subreddit. If you want to share pictures of your adorable pets, they too could end up on Cute of the Day.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
No babies for legal reasons.
just pets. Cute of the Day.
No babies because your baby is likely ugly, and we don't want to lie.
Yeah.
Some babies are ugly.
They are.
That's the truth. No one's willing to say.
Here is Cute of the Day, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, look.
Kind of looks like the dog from Dogecoin if he was stoned.
Exactly what it is.
I'm afraid of these dogs. These dogs I know have like some violent outbursts.
Do they?
They're not pit bull level, but I've heard that they can get aggressive.
What about this
I
one?
find them a little scary. That's majestic.
Like I follow a lot less people on Instagram than I do animals.
Apparently.
I do. So I think that's adorable.
I liked mine better.
Well, you know what we'll do? We're gonna do new ones every day.
Okay.
We can do them every day, and then we can argue later about who has cuter animals.
Okay.
All right, guys. We are gonna get started. So if you guys,
You didn't want to mention Jonathan Majors?
I was gonna save that for.
Some other time.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are going to get started here. So before we do, could you hit the like button on this video? Could you subscribe to this channel? If you have not done so already, thank you very much. Also, remember that if you do, I almost said tweet. I've been tweeting too much lately. If you do super chat anything $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion and read that super chat right then and there, and then we will do our best to get right back on the discussion. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So Netflix is going to Netflix. We all know this is true. Every time they make something like this, it's very similar to the Anne Boleyn thing that FX made. Netflix debuts Cleopatra docuseries that portrays the queen as black. That would actually be less interesting if it wasn't for the fact that that actually becomes the focus of the trailer. If you watch the actual trailer, they talk about arguing about what Cleopatra looked like. That becomes, there's a couple of like really funny lines.
It's different even from what FX did with Anne Boleyn, race swapping her to a black woman, because that at least was a fictionalized portrayal. Netflix is producing this as a documentary that teaches you about history.
Yeah.
And one of the documentary interviewees in this trailer literally says, my grandmother always told me, don't listen to what they tell you in school. Cleopatra was a black woman.
Yeah, that's an actual line that she says.
Don't care about the truth. Cleopatra was black.
What did AOC say? It doesn't. It's better to be morally right than factually correct.
I do not have a whole lot of
insane.
Alexandria occasional cortexes quotes.
But this is, I mean, this is a stereotypical Netflix thing. Does anybody remember this when this came out? When people were posting these pictures about Elon, the Netflix movie, and they just
and a ton of different examples where if you race swapped this person whom we all know is white,
who was Greek and Macedonian.
It's just a cheap gesture at inclusivity and representation that means nothing and is actually patronizing.
Yep.
And all of the comments that I'm seeing so far are negative.
Oh, there was a lot of people who were Greek who were actually saying like this was extremely offensive, and then people here in America are just like first time like.
Yeah, I mean, also there was no concept of the way that we view race in her time.
Yeah.
Like the way we view race in America is sort of more of a binary, if anything, that's just quite literally black and white. And the way that black Americans think of themselves as black is not something that Africans in that day and age thought of themselves.
Do you remember this picture from like the internet, from like your textbook when you were like, they just can't get it right. Like they just keep going to opposite ends of the extreme. Like you got to find your way somewhere in the middle.
That's probably a little bit closer than just depicting a black American.
And people are not happy with this, guys. The trailer right now had 60,000 downvotes.
I'm not happy with any of it at all.
60,000. Let's refresh and see what it's at.
If you can't make
77,000.
If you can't make a historical series about this time period without attaching all of your modern baggage to it and modern racial politics to it, then just don't bother.
And they're saying this is in
a
series about about black queens.
Yeah, this is one of now many that are going to be produced by Jada Pinkett Smith. Can't imagine why someone like Jada Pinkett Smith would have a vested interest in inflating her own ego.
77,000 downvotes to 11,000 upvotes on this trailer right now.
This is fan fiction. This is a self-insert of Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oof.
You know what it makes me think of? You know how we've had this discussion before about how like the first thing to die when the internet became popular was old wives' tales. Like everybody in my high school class or my junior high class heard the rumor that Marilyn Manson had a rib removed.
Yes.
And somehow, even though nobody had the internet, everyone heard that rumor. Netflix is literally
heard that
paying.
rumor myself.
Yeah, Netflix is paying billions of dollars to be able to keep old wives' tales going with this.
It's not even an old wives' tale. This was something that was cooked up by academia in the 2010s, if anything. Nobody who's actually a serious investigator of history thinks that this is the case. All of these comments are saying Cleopatra came from an incestuous bloodline. Meaning, first of all, she probably wasn't hot.
Yeah, there was like
I've
seen mixed things. Like some people saying she was extremely beautiful, and other people saying that that's cap.
Yeah, but secondly,
not true.
I don't believe that there was anyone extremely beautiful before the year 1900.
Her ancestry is from Greece. She's Greek or
Indoor
Macedonian.
plumbing.
Yeah.
Meaning she would look like what modern day Mediterranean people look like, which I guess in our modern framework would be a white person.
It looked like they were Israelis or Palestinians or Greek or Italians.
Which is funny.
I mean, it depends on who you ask. If it's an ignorant American, they would probably say, yeah, you're either black or white.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why this is so important to them.
The other thing that's interesting about this is that not that long ago, there was a Cleopatra movie, not a documentary, being made starring Gal Gadot and produced by Patty Jenkins. And I don't know if that's still going forward.
Look, no one can do it like Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, you are correct.
Clef the Misfit said, it's not an old wives' tale. It's a new Wynant's tale.
Okay, well then that's what they're here for.
You said it.
We had old wives' tales when we were kids, and now they have new Wynant tales that they get to spread.
Oh, why not tales? Okay.
That's what it is. And for this, I think the Gal Gadot movie could be a lot more interesting, and I don't think the backlash would matter. I don't think people would care as much because she's such a...
I don't know why it needs to be done again. Elizabeth Taylor did it.
Yep.
And another old wives' tale is that Elizabeth Taylor had purple eyes.
Really?
Which is just patently false.
Where did that come from?
It's not something that happens naturally. It's just that she had a very deep shade of blue eyes, but everyone said that they were violet.
Okay.
Because it adds to the mystique of her.
Mao in the chat, Mao Attack says Gal playing Cleo would be an insult. Because she's Israeli, because she's Jewish. Why would that be an insult?
I have no idea. Also,
when it comes to the box office, there is such a thing as they have to worry about who's going to put butts in seats. And she's one of the female. Margot Robbie can't be the only female draw. There have to be other women.
Margot Robbie couldn't play Cleopatra.
No, she couldn't. So they need somebody else. And Gal Gadot is one of the biggest female draws there is in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
So
one comment said, it's hilarious how much they care about Cleopatra because it's literally the only one they know. They are so ignorant about actual Egyptian history.
Well, to be fair, they're probably ignorant about all history.
Yes.
They're saying because
willfully
of the...
so. We have the information. It's just, it depends on what you're willing to accept.
Who needs to go look for information? Get a name, make up some BS, put it out there. Done.
Cleopatra fighting Napoleon while saving Wakanda brought tears
there
to my
you
eyes.
go. That's what I'm talking about. And then make it based on real events.
Yes. They're saying that the Gal Gadot couldn't do it because of the Israel-Egyptian war.
I thought that was settled. I thought that they gave the Sinai Peninsula back to Egypt, and
it's just two. Maybe they just won't forget. They just can't forget.
I love the part when she said Avengers Assemble. Truly iconic. Heart eyes emoji.
Not just that, guys, but a bunch of things seem to be taking the downvote L lately. The Marvels ended up being the most downvoted trailer in the history of Marvel. 370 downvotes.
We are 15 years post the first Marvel movie.
It's at 389 now.
The people that are watching Marvel movies now are not the same people that were watching Marvel movies when Iron Man and the Marvel first group came out. I don't know who Marvel is chasing anymore.
Why not?
No, that's not true.
Star Wars is chasing Wynons.
Statistically, Wynons are not watching Marvel movies.
I didn't say that they were watching it. I said that they're chasing them.
They're chasing young people.
Like I guess with Harry Styles.
And young people don't give a shit about Marvel.
hiring Harry Styles could be. But the funny thing is, I didn't find this trailer to be 389,000 downvote material. It was just kind of, it made me ambivalent.
The Marvels trailer wasn't any worse than any other Marvel trailers that are coming out right now, but I think it's because people are so fatigued with not only superhero movies, but also like the feminism that gets injected into them, especially with Brie Larson.
I was just gonna say, I think that's probably more on Brie Larson, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly the lack of goodwill between the audience and her.
I found her to be the least frustrating part of that trailer.
She's only in it for like 8 seconds.
I know.
They're like, just show as little of Brie Larson as possible.
She's got a flat stomach. She's looking good.
She can't say much.
Put her in look, just a flash of blonde hair and blue and red, and you're good. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Well, also, like she seemed like frustrated and annoyed, and she was actually emoting or trying to emote.
I really don't find Iman Vellani compelling in any way. Why don't they? I'm sorry. Look.
No, you're not.
She's not very easy on the eyes. How about that?
Okay.
I don't understand why Hollywood is going in this direction where they don't hire hot people anymore.
Because they hate.
I'm very confused.
Beauty.
And I'm not saying that to put her down as a person. I'm just saying.
I think what it is
the left
like
hates beauty.
The reason why it doesn't work for me with her is it's not because of that. It's because the things that people love about her is that they feel that she is extremely endearing in her love for the role. But right now, the last thing I like seeing characters that are excited to play superheroes. Like, I don't want to see a character that becomes a superhero excited to be a superhero. I want to see them reserved at the fact that they've been given this duty that's actually dangerous. When a character seems excited about it, it takes away from the stakes.
It's the same, yes, the gravity of the situation.
Yes.
I do understand that, and there's a lot to be said for that. I think that is something that is due to the writers, and I think that same notion is the notion that, or the same kind of impulse is the same impulse that made Rey automatically badass.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that made Captain Marvel when she first landed on Earth or whatever, the first thing she does is robs a guy in a bad way, like trying to be like, oh, we're gonna do the Terminator thing, totally missing that the Terminator is the effing bad guy. It's the Terminator. You know, it's like, so it's almost like people not understanding how you create a character. It's bad writing, I think, is the problem.
Focus on member berries without actually paying attention to what the member berries are supposed to represent.
I think so.
For a lot of that stuff. Very large amount of downvotes on that going on right now. So both Marvel and Netflix seem to be taking just a little bit of an L on this one. If you had to watch one of these two, which one would you rather watch? If you had to watch Queen Cleopatra, the documentary, or The Marvels, which one would you have to watch?
Oh, the whole movie?
Yes.
Whatever is shorter. Whatever ends the pain sooner.
Running time?
I don't even care.
Yeah.
Also,
running time.
I also want to point out that I did look up. I asked ChatGPT to give me the physical descriptions of Queen Cleopatra. They said obviously we can't do that because there's no photos of her. But it says according to some descriptions, Cleopatra was said to have been a slim and petite figure with a pale complexion and oval-shaped face. She had large almond-shaped eyes and arched eyebrows and a straight nose, which were considered some of her most striking features. So the pale part stands out to me, that maybe that's some evidence that she wasn't in fact a queen, that type of queen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
pale.
maybe...
You remember, you could go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
Well, I mean, context. You know, she could have been like a light-skinned person compared to everyone else.
That's what I was going to say. It's just like pale in comparison to everyone else.
Because I mean, not everyone is as pale as Mary.
That's true.
Creative
and
juice.
I'm honestly tired of not being represented
in movies and television.
In movies and television. As a pale person, I deserve to be represented on screen.
You have Christina Ricci. That's it. That's what you get.
Yeah, she counts.
And Ghosts.
Who else?
Casper.
In Casper. Christina Ricci was in the original Casper
was.
movie.
Yes.
So that's they bottled them all into one project and got their diversity points out of the way in that
Damn,
movie.
I feel tokenized.
Powder?
So that's even worse.
Do you remember that show, that movie Powder? About this, I think that he was a, what's it called when they're an albino kid?
Allison Hannigan from Buffy. She's pale.
Okay.
She is.
You
have recommended Buffy.
Yes. So you should, you'll get your pale representation there. Plus, it would always be weird when a show that takes place at night all the time. Why would the characters be tan if they're always either in school or out at night?
Maybe this is why I like Twilight. They represent me as a pale person.
That's exactly what
that
it
was
is.
the key part.
So what you're saying is representation actually does matter.
To some people.
I'm about to cry.
Matters. So look, those are the examples off the top of my head. What was Powder?
Powder was a movie about a kid that was he had magic powers somehow, and he was a albino.
Magic powders.
Magic powders.
They made the albino guy.
He cured a guy's cancer, and he was a magic kid, and I don't know what the deal was, if he was like part alien or whatever, but
I think
he was a weird outcast kid that had special powers. They made those movies fairly regularly in the
So
the
it's like
90s.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but for powers.
Well, but less red-nosed,
Yeah.
And less reindeer.
But it's like he helps people, so therefore he's
he's
useful.
misunderstood and he's got the weird powers. Google it if you want. It's not a bad movie. It's not terrible.
Have you ever seen those really lame analytical literary articles about why Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is bad because he's proof that people only like you for your usefulness?
I've heard that it's anti-Semitic.
Is it? I didn't.
Guy who's
I bet
singled
that there
out
is
for having a distinctive nose.
Powder, 1995.
The bad guy in season 1 of the show Black Lightning was an albino man.
Okay.
So just saying. All right, we got some super chats there. Do we not, Mary?
Yes. Redfield RE said Cleopatra was of Greek descent. Fact.
Let's and also, guys, there is a poll up right now. If you have not answered the poll yet, I did ask. I said, was Cleopatra a black queen? And so far, 85% say no. The other 15% say yes.
I voted yes because
you're a contrarian.
I'm an ally. Mr. X, I'm not sure if I want to read this one, but was. Dark Gift Comics Presents said, where are we posting pics of pets? Today, one of mine's birthday, and I posted a pic on Twitter.
Tag me in it on Twitter.
Should we come up with a hashtag?
We pop culture pets.
You know what? Here's the thing, guys.
PCC pets.
Let's address a family issue, okay, on this show.
Oh boy.
Here's why we haven't done meme review. There aren't enough memes, and honestly, the quality of the memes we do have, we need to step it up. I'm not trying to bully you guys about it, but from what I hear, third party, I haven't looked at the memes, but from objective third parties, I've heard that we need better output and we need more memes.
Stern but fair.
So I'm saying this as a loving correction. We need more and better memes, and if it helps, you don't even have to post them on just the subreddit for Pop Culture Crisis, although you are certainly welcome to. Also, I would say, how about this? Hashtag PCC meme review on Twitter.
You are getting meme shamed.
PCC meme review on Twitter. Post the memes there if it's easier for you to do that. How about that? Because I wouldn't want to be on Reddit either.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a problem.
Or just, if you want to send me pictures of your pets, I'm completely okay with getting tagged in on those.
The pets? Yeah. Do that too.
Yep. All right. Let's do a couple more there.
Tattooed Cash said, I loved your interview with Finn McKenty over the weekend. Great job breaking down barriers, brother.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Finn's real cool.
Hobbit said, less culture cringe, more cute doggo.
I'm with you on that.
Not a fan of the word doggo, but
I let that one slide. I understand
we'll look past
that. No, I'm saying that because I follow many doggo accounts because it's just where the curation of dog.
I like cat
goes
videos
to.
so much more than dog videos. I'm a cat person.
But I had one more that we can look at. I don't even know what this thing is. Hold on, here I'll put it on screen. I don't even know what this is.
Oh, it's a chinchilla.
Well, it's adorable.
It looks like me. I feel represented in
Look
media.
at- Somebody's gonna have to make a meme of Mary and the chinchilla. It's like technically we haven't seen them both in the same place at the same time.
No, we haven't.
So it could be right there.
I think that's a chinchilla at least.
Is that what that is, guys? Chinchilla? Looks like a chinchilla.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
All right. Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, saw the Cleopatra trailer last night while running 100-degree fever, so I thought it was just a fever dream. Watched it again this morning after the fever broke. I'd rather have the fever.
All right. Fair
Yeah.
enough. That's a very fair estimate.
I want the fever back.
I don't
All right,
like this
guys.
reality.
All right, guys. So right now, I was watching a couple of videos today from Clownfish TV talking about kind of the apocalypse going on in the tech world, all the layoffs that are going on there. Well, another place that could be happening someplace soon is in the voice acting world, because a lot of people are worried that artificial intelligence is coming for their gerbs. Like they could be coming to, put it, the way I think of it is like this. For years, whether you followed the Vic Mignogna scandal or anything like that, you know that voice actors, much like YA novelists, have a tendency to be very outspoken on Twitter, which can cause problems for a company, especially if the company's trying to keep a low profile. If you're an actor and you're James Earl Jones, right, and you've got a pedigree, you've got 50, 60 years of experience and all of this built up with a resume, that's one thing. But if you're a replaceable voice actor number 5, you got to start to worry about whether or not, should I tweet this? Because I could very easily be replaced by somebody just recording a voice with an AI program. Should I, they're going to have to watch their behavior, because you are imminently replaceable in a lot of these cases. If there's no person behind it, a lot of even movies nowadays, look at the Lion King live action. They did, when they did the voiceover work for that, those were mostly actors and singers that ended up getting those roles. They weren't going to regular voice actors. So is this something that you think that they should be worried about? Is the idea of a company like these places, just like McDonald's wants to put in automated checkout so that you don't have to pay a guy to sit up front and take your order, you have to start worrying about stuff like this?
I would imagine.
Can they do it to music?
Yes, they can do. I'm pretty sure that they can, AI can do art, AI can do music, AI can do all that stuff.
But is it getting to the point where it can measure up to
The things
humans?
so you know how, have you seen the comedy bit, the 4-chord song?
Mm-mm.
Those guys that play, they say they can play it's a 4-chord song, just play 4 chords, and basically they just sing the chorus to 50 different songs.
Okay.
Right? And the reason is because I'm pretty sure they don't play them all in the keys that they were originally written in, but they're all in they're all relatively the same, because people kind of like the same stuff. Like, people complain about, oh, music's all the same, blah 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 blah, but then the same stuff is popular for a reason. Yeah. When you have when you have all of the music in the world literally at your fingertips, which everyone does, you can't sit there and complain about what's popular, because it's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff can be emulated by AI, especially when you're given all of human history's music writing, or modern history music writing, to the AI as a data sample. I can't imagine that. I think that it probably could do it fairly easily right now.
I think I saw something years back about record labels using algorithms to figure out what songs to promote first on records, because based on what was popular at that time.
That's possible. I don't know about it. I know that we do a lot of data analysis for All That Remains, and
so that makes perfect sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Data analysis isn't so far off from the concept of
absolutely not. We're talking about if we're going to sign a record deal, we know going into it what we can expect. The record company knows going into it what they can expect for sales, how much money that's worth to us, blah blah blah. It's not like we're going to go and come to the table with vastly different amounts of money that we're thinking about, just so long as they actually do crunch some numbers and don't just say, oh, whatever, so you can, with a large enough data set, you can definitely emulate it. So that's why the AI pictures that come out, that's why they're so striking and sometimes are so cool, because You've got the whole internet that it can search.
The ones of the Pope were like there's a weirdly
40K Pope.
There's like a weirdly surreal look to it where it's like it's almost too in focus.
Yeah.
Like it's like
It looks like a production set.
Yeah, everything is too real looking, but I don't know if that's really a problem for voice acting. I don't really think that's going to be an issue for them. It says some companies have been touting different ways that voice actors could benefit from the use of AI. This includes using the technology to record lines in a higher or lower register than the actor is usually capable of achieving. Isn't that usually possible in post-production anyways?
Yeah.
Like, would they even need AI to do that, or wouldn't they be able to do that with post-production work?
I don't know.
Like you can manipulate. There's all like your voice is imminently manipulatable.
Well, yeah, I mean, any sound is infinitely manipulable. So we were in the studio a couple weeks back or whatever, and our producer Josh, he literally hummed a melody, turned it into MIDI, like, and it was like first he tuned it because he was just making sure that the notes were right. Yeah. Then he put it into MIDI, so he made it into a MIDI signal. Then took that MIDI signal and he put it through a guitar amp plug-in, and like, so he literally hummed a guitar line because there was no, like, I was downstairs and doing something. He's just like wanted to hear a guitar line over something, so he hummed it and created it. So you can manipulate and create almost anything. You can especially when you get something like white noise. There's, if you got white noise, you got literally all the frequencies to work with. Yeah. So you can really get into messing around with stuff that way. So yes. I can almost guarantee that it is possible to be created out of nothing nowadays.
And I'm just thinking for a lot of these actors, like just think about how much you have to put on the line when you hire someone, anyone, whether that someone's toes the line or not. That person could get Me Too'd. That person could get in trouble. They could say the wrong thing on the internet. Eventually, at some point, these companies are going to be like, we can just cut bait and use AI to create it because we know they're not going to cause problems. We did in like a very early episode of this show, we talked about the AI rappers that have been created.
They've all
Mecca.
Yeah, they've all had they've all had their own gaffes though.
Yes, but I'm saying, but you can create that. There's literally AI rappers that have been created that aren't real people, but they were like AI rappers that had activist causes. So like activist agencies were like hiring fake people.
Yeah.
To promote for them, because much like you always talk about with like Korean pop stars, they can be, for the most part, controlled and not manipulated, but controlled, and they can promote whatever the company wants them to promote.
Unless they happen to wear a swastika on their shirt
or a QAnon shirt.
Without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Without knowing what it is.
Actual story.
That's...
Yeah. I guess they aren't taught that in Korea.
That's interesting.
If voice actors are feeling threatened by AI, that AI might steal their jobs, then I don't understand where they're coming from, because it's already happened.
Yeah, there's a $20 one right there.
Daniel J. Corica said, "Modern rap music is trash. If Big L and Biggie were still alive, most rappers would be flipping burgers."
That's true. Well, for me, Big L more than Biggie, but Tupac more than anything for me. That was my era of rap music. So very sad to see. And Mac Dre.
I don't think it's trash. I mean, it just is
There's plenty of rap that I like now, but there's most of it is older.
My favorite rappers managed to survive the 90s.
Like who?
Dre and Snoop and Eminem, and like those are the guys.
Eminem is lame now.
Dre.
Well, I mean, fine, whatever. Fine, but like Eminem in the late 90s and early aughts, he was awesome, and he still writes great raps. I mean, obviously he's got terrible politics, but most people have more on politics.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot.
I like Snoop.
Brian Francis said, "Hail Brett, Mary, and Phil. Great show so far. What we need is more of Phil's bright, articulate, well-thought-out takes and less of Dane in general."
That's not nice.
That
is
nice,
rude.
But I will say thank you.
Just for that, Dane is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Thank you to the first half, not the second half.
In fact, Dane, because Mary will be gone tomorrow. She will be with you and Hannah Claire in Austin.
We will be in Texas.
Yes.
It's going to be an episode for the boys here tomorrow, which means it's going to be me, Dane, and Bertman. So cult leader.
The Burtoning is back.
The Burtoning is back. The cult leader, the marketing man extraordinary and little old me will be here, and we're gonna have some fun talking about stuff tomorrow. So I don't really like the second part of that, but thank you to them for the first part.
I'm chaperoning the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody should get a picture of you like you're like
Right.
we're gonna be late. It's like all the
You're
memes,
the male chaperone.
all the memes about dads like whenever
We're
you
not
gotta
allowed
go
to
the
drive
airport.
here at Timcast.
You're definitely not allowed to drive.
It says to make matters even worse, more voice actors may not realize they have signed a contract allowing AI recording of their voice to be made until it's too late.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, did
So
James
read
Earl
those
Jones-
contracts, guys.
Did James Earl Jones get into that situation then?
On purpose, though.
On
because he's-
purpose.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they have such vague wording and
Yeah.
all these new contracts that they own your likeness in all dimensions.
It's my favorite part of any type of corporate response. Like whenever a corporation releases any type of press release, it's the only place in time in history you see the word synergy ever. Like I was reading the WWE press release when Endeavor purchased 51% of the company, and 88.7% of it is just gibberish words that you only hear in CEO press releases, and the rest of it is all mumbo jumbo. Like none of it's actual talking.
Let me look up what synergy. Because I'm
Corporate
still
synergy, when your brands come
clear.
together, like WWE cross promoting with UFC would be synergy.
Synergy, the interaction of two or more agents or forces so that their combined effect is greater than the sum of their individual effects.
It's like only like a certain type of, it's not even the CEO who writes that stuff either. It's some poor press release, some poor writer who has to write the press release. Right?
I mean, now ChatGPT can do the same thing.
That is true. Oh, did you see it? They started developing like AI modeling programs that can detect when ChatGPT is being used to write school reports and stuff like that.
It's not possible.
And
if you can't prove it.
Some girl got caught recently, but then was able to prove that she didn't use.
Yeah, if you can catch someone and it's a false positive, then the software that can detect it is useless.
Yeah.
So it's kind of over for them. I bet that if that were available when I was in high school, I would have used it.
Well,
and I'm good at writing. I just I always wait until the night before.
Yeah.
So.
See, that is depressing too, because you are a good writer. So it's like, how many good writers are not going to develop their skills and confidence because they're just going to rely on ChatGPT to write it now?
The internet is probably going to have a considerable, not just the internet, but I think that because I think that schools are going to focus less on things like actually being able to do arithmetic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the reason is because everyone they're essentially going to assume that in the future, everyone will have the calculator with them that their teacher told, teachers told me that I would never have, you know?
They didn't tell Mary that. They told me and you that. They said you would never have a calculator with you all the time.
And I think that because of that, they're going to focus on other topics, and they're not going to teach kids the fundamental basics of stuff. And I think that might cause problems in the future.
Similar to how they got rid of cursive writing to focus on programming.
I didn't know that they did get rid of that, but
Yeah.
that would probably be an artifact.
I didn't
of
learn
that.
programming. I learned cursive.
You're
going to lose out on something.
There's a hilarious TikTok trend. It was like, write your name without taking your pen off the paper. And someone's like, congratulations, Gen Z, you've just learned cursive.
God.
What do you think about the contracts? Do you think that this is going to be a problem for actors who just don't read their contracts thoroughly enough and realize they're basically signing their voice rights over to these companies?
It will for some, but if that happens, that kind of stuff will get around really quickly, because what happens is they are getting the rights to your likeness then.
Yeah.
And more than likely, if they do that kind of stuff, it'll be in perpetuity, and that'll mean that someone's going to be like, all right, this I need to make a stink about, and it'll go to court. And even if they lose, at the very least, it'll be a situation where people become aware of, hey, if you do one job for this company, it's possible that they would literally steal your identity, your public-facing identity.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, it's not just voice actors, guys. Fortune cookies are going to be losing their jobs too. Did you see this?
I do not
They're
care.
using AI programs to write fortune cookies now.
They weren't doing that already.
They weren't doing that already.
It said chase your dreams.
Yeah, Andrea Muse says, not to boomer post, but if AI starts writing fortune cookies, we have truly reached simulacrum.
I really thought that they were written in Tibet by dudes.
Yeah. Well,
Dudes
not
like
the Dalai
on that.
Lama, that's for sure.
You just open a fortune cookie and it says suck my tongue.
clip that. Someone clip that.
I don't want
and
to.
send me a link.
I found
You
a
just open
fortune cookie.
and it says "suck my tongue."
I put there's a fortune cookie AI program you can use on the internet, and you can generate fortune cookies. And I just did one. It says, "Do not be greedy. It's time to learn." That seems fair.
What?
At least it
but
didn't say
what's the
suck my tongue.
relation between the first part and the second part?
I have no idea. But it's AI. It doesn't matter. We don't live in a world where things actually have to mean anything anymore. It's just content now. Everything's just content. Like nothing's actually of any type of substance. It's just content. Even this is just content. People will forget about this.
This is human content.
Well, this is. I mean, this is just opinion, like an opinion show on like.
Yes.
You know, so it is light fare, I guess.
Yeah.
But there have to be things produced that have substance.
Yes.
So.
I mean, I've not heard many good, like, passable AI-produced songs.
Yeah.
That are entirely AI, especially if it's a digital voice.
Sure.
Like, unless that's the gimmick of it, then that makes sense to me, but that's not going to replace human voices.
It will.
And I don't think that, I doubt it. And I don't think that podcasters are going to be ever fully replaced.
Not the
by
really
AI
good ones.
either, because podcasts, I mean, they arose as something people use as like a substitute for conversation.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting viewing your third party to a conversation.
Also,
it's part of people's drive for human connection, so it can't be created otherwise.
And a lot of the ones that do it best have a cult of personality around them that's not easily replaced, because they have their personality is as much a drive to that channel as it is the conversation itself. Like not a lot of people listen to Logan Paul because Logan Paul has fantastic takes on life. He's just an interesting person.
Logan Paul has a podcast.
Which one's the one that has Jake? Who has the Paul brothers?
Logan Paul has Impulsive.
Yeah. So like that's like most like people watching that, they're not going there for deep discussion about deep issues. You're going there to
sometimes you'd be surprised if you watched episodes of Impulsive. They get serious sometimes.
I don't believe it.
It's interesting. Like, hey, I love Logan Paul as a
chance.
wrestler, so that's just me. But it's like all the podcasts that I love are usually subject matter based. So like ones that review the X-Files, that go back through and review the X-Files, stuff like that. Or even the political ones that I do like. It's more because I like the person, the general takes from the person themselves as much as the content. Because a lot of the content ends up getting recycled. Like you cycle through these channels and you've got an endless bunch of people. Like I could go on my thing right now, it's like 900 people talking about Dylan Mulvaney. And they're all saying the same thing, essentially. So the ones you like, it's because you like that person, not because they have some obscenely unique take. Maybe there's a little bit to it that's
somewhat
different.
I mean, I do feel like people listen to things hoping that they will get, well, I mean, it depends. There are people that listen to podcasts that literally just want to be fed their opinion back to them.
Yeah.
And then there are people that are actually listening to podcasts that are looking to hear something different, even if it's not looking for something that challenges them strongly. Maybe it's listening for a different take in the same ballpark of what they already agree with. So I think there's probably degrees to it.
And a lot of them, I guess, if you consume like 5 or 6 different podcasts that talk about the same thing, you might cobble together a bunch of unique smaller parts that make for a wider view, or a more panoramic view of the subject matter, I guess, like that. That depends. I consume far less of that than I used to right now, so most of the stuff that I take in tends to be shorter content. Like I actually really appreciate videos that get me the information in like under 5 minutes. Like it's actually one of the things that I like the best. Like when I used to watch like PragerU stuff, is they'd have like those 5-minute videos because it was subject matter focused, right? It wasn't less about their opinions, more about the actual facts that they were conveying. But podcasts are less about that. One of the hardest things for me when we started this was like trying to figure out like a middle ground between like conveying the information in the topic and also making sure that the discussion you're having includes everyone and as more general, right? Because it can't just be about the information. Otherwise, anybody else can do that in a 5-minute video. It has to be about letting a conversation stem from that, which is actually what we're doing here. This was an article about actors who have a problem or seem to be having a problem with what could happen to their jobs from AI, and what's stemmed from it is a discussion that goes broader than that, and that's different than just general intake of information. All right, and do you remember your fortune cookies when you get fortune cookies? Is that have you ever saved one?
The only one that I thought was like timely and clever was when I was hired here and hadn't moved here yet, and it was like it was like something like you're gonna go through some unexpected changes with work. Or whatever, and then I posted it on my story, and you liked the story.
There you go. I think the only one that I've ever had that was memorable was like don't call her back, it's a bad idea.
That was in a fortune cookie. Usually they're so like pithy.
Yeah. Like basically, so like if you broke up with someone, like just.
Did you need to hear that?
I didn't need to hear it at the time, but it stuck out to me as a very funny one.
It's good. It's good advice.
Yeah.
Dump him, sis.
Exactly.
Get your bag, queen.
All right.
Oh God.
We got some super chats there.
Unknown said, I can't wait for a Black World War II baddie.
Yeah.
Clef the Misfit, No Tax, Good Tax said, Pitbull stats are very skewed because they include attacks from 4 to 6 separate breeds into the stats, but don't include those breeds for total number of dogs.
Sounds like those school.
Sounds like a cope.
You know,
That's what I'm hearing.
I am so uninterested in getting into the pit bull discourse, the pro and anti pit bull. That is not.
There's no discourse about it. I'm just saying.
There's a discourse about it.
There are people that get into as salty an argument on Twitter as you can imagine over this. No kidding around.
They're also like, I'm sorry, they're just not cute. Propensity to violence aside, they're not cute dogs. Other breeds of dogs always are cute.
I would like to reiterate that I really don't want to get involved in the pit bull discourses.
All right, let's move on.
You don't have to.
I have no opinion on it.
But I'm just saying that sounds like a cope. Yeah. Redfield RE said, if I had the power to fly, I'd use it to get to work every morning.
There you go. It's we should have jetpacks. When are jetpacks going to become a thing? Commercial jetpacks.
Those already like work.
I mean, there are jetpacks, but they're not commercial. We need commercially available jetpacks.
I think you need a license to get them, but they are. I imagine they're commercially available.
Okay.
I mean, everything's commercially available, like guns and,
what about flying
missiles
cars?
And all that stuff. You just have to be the right person buying them.
Have you ever seen that video of the guy shoveling his driveway with a flamethrower?
Well,
what?
Yeah, removing snow with a flamethrower.
Yeah, like he's shoveling snow off. Basically uses it to melt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like it's like.
But it would flood your house, maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know how much. Like he wouldn't need a license for that, right?
If there's enough of it, it might flood your house.
Yeah. If you have the Elon Musk one, no. But I don't know exactly how regulated a flamethrower is. I know they suck to use.
Yeah,
they're not fun.
Wait, why not?
Because it's hot.
It's
very hot.
You would need like a fireman's suit to use it, basically.
Yeah, either that or but they suck to use. I saw someone used one on YouTube, and they were like, that was awful, and I never want to do it again.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, it was awful. I hated it.
Darn, it's never as exciting as it seems. Ryan said, if I had the choice, I would watch paint dry and nails scrape on the blackboard.
Oof.
Between watching The Marvels and Queen Cleopatra.
Yeah, I didn't give people any good choices on that one. It's not like I gave you like a great amount of stuff to talk about or to want to watch. Just kind of like Mary's going to go see Barbie and I'm going to go see Oppenheimer, and we're going to...
We'll both see both.
Yes. Somebody says, oh, name 10 flamethrowers. I can't, bro. I can't name him.
Jetlag said, do corny Daily Wire movies help or hurt culture war?
Horny Daily Wire movie?
Corny, they said.
I don't think they're in the market for making horny movies.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you're working against your target demographic if you do that.
I've heard some people say that they don't like that some of the Daily Wire movies are like revenge stories because they think it kind of is too like angry and violent.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Those people are dumb.
I can't really get on board with that.
Also,
those kind of that's what makes compelling stories. Like
sometimes depends on the movie, but
well, I mean, obviously you can't say like it has to be well made and it has to be well written. Yes, but the drama that comes from really bad things is what makes compelling stories. Like the reason why the hero's journey works is because of the second act where the hero gets his butt kicked.
Yep.
You know, that's the whole reason is because the hero, you know, the first act is doing his thing and he goes out on his own. The second act where he gets smashed, that's why Empire Strikes Back is great, because everyone gets their ass handed to them. Yeah. You know, and it's like everyone, you love the cliffhanger that you're left on. So it needs that, I think you need that kind of, you need something that matters. That's part of why I think the Marvel movies kind of ran out of gas, because they literally had bet the universe, lost the universe, and went back and got the universe. So it's like you're
what stakes are there?
Yeah,
after
your
that?
Stakes don't get much higher. You know.
Also, it seems like they're averse. Like I wonder if it's that younger writers just didn't grow up with much conflict, so they don't understand the pull people have to seeing stories about people, you know, having to rise above hardship. And stuff like that. It's kind of why I have a problem with movies that always depict people as like best friends with no internal conflict. Like female characters always have to be best friends and like, oh my god.
And
queen.
In real life, everyone knows that they would kill each other. You know,
exactly. That is, everyone knows that doesn't ring true to the way. Like now, if you show them being really nice to each other in person and then talking shit behind each other's back, that might actually ring true. It's like when I see like women say nice things to each other on social media, I actually can picture them saying the opposite as they're typing it. Like,
I guess for some people,
saying.
I don't follow anyone I don't like. I haven't watched the Daily Wire movies actually, so I don't feel like I'm qualified to opine on them. But
how did you feel about like the
one person commented that they want male leads in the Daily Wire movies because they've done all female leads.
Well, they're subverting expectations while giving you a story.
It's like always a question of like how responsive to the dominant culture are we trying to make this movie that we're making, or like what do we want it to speak for itself more? Did
they say that they wanted more male leads from the Daily Wire?
Yeah,
the Daily Wire always makes female. No.
So far, I think they've only made female leads, but it's also like because Hollywood does female leads so badly, they felt like they needed to show it can be done right.
Yeah.
And
I think there's value in that.
Yeah.
Right?
At least trying.
There is, yeah.
Because I agree that Hollywood does crap.
Both. Yeah. They should do both.
Let's do one more and then let's move on.
Gordon Shumway said Powder was about a kid who had kinetic energy because his mom was struck by lightning when she was pregnant. He was paler than Mary and hairless. That's
he was
terrifying.
hairless too. I forgot about the hairless.
All right, let us move on. Mary, tell us all about our favorite person in the world, Emily Ratatouille.
She really is our favorite actress / model. The derogatory term for which is slashy.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
If you are I mean, it's almost a way to dunk on celebrity activists too. If you're an actress / model / activist /
every young
whatever.
Actress has like activist in their Instagram or their Twitter now.
You can't just do one thing. She's an actress / model / podcaster /
also look
whatever.
to names like that. One of the things that's funny, like the people that put like CEO of a company in their bio are usually not the people that are actually the CEO of something important. Like actual CEOs put like something pithy in their bios, or it's about their family or something like that. Like Elon Musk does
depends
Elon
on the size of the company.
That's okay. But
it depends on the person too.
It depends on the person. I'm just saying that, you know, like if you run a business, the same. So what's she doing?
She recently had an interview with the LA Times where she explained why she stopped acting And it's definitely you can't fire me, I quit situation, evidently. And she completely blames the men in Hollywood for being so hateful toward women. She said, I didn't feel like I'm an artist performing and this is my outlet. I felt like a piece of meat who people were judging, saying, does she have anything else other than her breasts? What kind of question is that?
She's an interesting one to me because
this is projection.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I don't know what she actually expects to it. Also, like, wasn't they mostly shut down during COVID?
Well, she was acting long before COVID ever happened, but she quit. Supposedly because she was ran out of Hollywood for being such an empowered woman.
Yeah.
Which is really just patchworking the narrative when you couldn't land the roles that you wanted, right? Every role that she wanted, she didn't get, and the roles that she didn't want, she got and then didn't take for bogus reasons. Because everywhere that someone like this looks, there is a misogynist creeping around the corner. Like, everywhere she looks, there is misogyny.
What's the thing? It's like when every problem is a nail, when all you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail, right?
Yeah.
Like and it becomes the go-to explanation for every problem in your life.
Yeah.
Everyone's out to get her. When this is the definition of a person who has had like every opportunity handed to her.
Yeah.
If you were hot, moderately articulate, and got a few opportunities at the beginning of your career that allowed you to now be like the Slashy with a podcast that makes headlines where you talk about dating.
Yeah.
The
you know?
Slashy.
Is that from something? Is that from Zoolander? Somebody said that was from Zoolander.
Is it?
Is that I don't even. If it
I'm
is,
not aware of where
if it
it's
is.
from.
If it is, I don't remember.
I'm not aware of where it's from.
If it is that I didn't.
I think I
don't
actually
remember.
heard it from the Hari Neff, but
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if
like because I
Hari
was like
came up
somebody
with
like
it.
in the chat, Quiet and Ari is like, Brett, that slur is from Zoolander. Did you hit your head, bro? Like,
Okay, I watched Zoolander way too long ago
Yeah.
to remember.
it's been a long
Slashy
time.
is a slur now?
Yeah, I guess so. Just like boomer is a slur, right?
But is
Remember when OK Boomer was
Hey,
called a slur?
whatever
by the
happened
boomers?
Wait, but yeah, okay, so it's a slur. Are you not supposed to say slurs? Are all slurs equal? Because I do not
Apparently.
feel comfortable with the N-word.
Literally,
But Slashy, I really don't
boomers
have.
were like-
I'll dive right into that one with a reckless abandon.
Boomers were saying that OK Boomer is the equivalent to the N-word.
Shut the F up, Boomer.
Also, whatever happened to Nico Lowell? What's she doing these days?
Getting
Not
large.
much.
Yeah.
Doesn't she live in Austin and she like lives in some high rise in Austin and still does Twitch?
I don't know, but I've heard and seen
It's like a
pictures. She's
streamer
just
now.
putting on the weight.
Oh,
Apparently.
okay. Yeah, so it is from. Oh, that is so funny. Now I'm gonna go rewatch Zoolander this weekend. Holy crap!
Ratatouille also said that she realized if she wanted to continue acting, it would mean having to make herself, quote, digestible to powerful men in Hollywood. She fired her acting agent, commercial rep, and manager in early 2020 as a result. So this is like probably before COVID.
Yeah.
She just realized that, you know, in order to make it in Hollywood, you have to be likable.
I mean,
Is that the big revelation she
do
came
you
to?
really need to be likable in Hollywood? Jada Pinkett Smith still works. She's not likable at all. I guess she's kind of grandmothered in.
Is
with
she
Will.
acting still?
I mean, she was. I mean, literally the last thing I remember her on was Gotham, and that
She's just telling
Will
Smith to go get
do
stuff for her.
this. That's so like for her. It's also
She
it's
gets
like,
her pet project about African queens now.
and also like it's kind of like quiet. She can be like quiet quitting, where like if you like I've been watching like a bunch of videos about quiet quitting, about how it's basically just it's just doing the job you were hired to do because most companies expect you to go above and beyond anyways, right? So for her, she can just quiet quit because when she says quitting, like what studio executives is she talking about? And was her acting demo? It's like it would be like Julia Fox saying this stuff, right?
About her reps, she said, I didn't trust them. I was like, I can
Were they
handle
men?
receiving phone calls. I'll make the decisions. None of you have my best interest at heart, and you all hate women.
See, that was fine up until the all hate women part.
Yeah, well, that was big. No, anyway.
I mean, would you expect a talent agent to act like your family member? Like, why would they have your best interests at heart? All they're trying to do is get you jobs, and you're unsatisfied with the jobs that you're able to get.
Yeah. And for a lot of them, right? Like, I mean, there's a long history of agents and managers taking advantage of actors. That's not in any way new to anyone.
Sure.
The hating women part is hilarious. How she has to.
Where does that come from?
That comes from
Source?
That comes from the fact that she's too wealthy to actually be a victim.
Yeah.
She's too wealthy and privileged to be a victim, so she has to go ahead and throw out some kind of victimhood because victimhood is social capital today.
It's so weird.
One of the most privileged, wealthy people in America has to throw out, oh, check it out, I'm a victim this way. Shut your mouth. No one should feel bad for you for anything at all.
Her and Julia Fox should start their own talent agency. They can call it No Talent. And then they can have it can stand for something. New Order Talent. It'll be No Talent, and that'll be the name of the talent agency.
Not ovulating talent.
Yes, you're doing
Women
great
on
today.
the pill.
Yes, and they only get hired to do ads for birth control. That's all they get hired for. Is
You know
birth
what's sad?
control
Vanessa
ads.
Hudgens is on the birth control implant ads now.
They make implants for birth control.
You didn't know that?
Oh no. Okay. Yes. At least I've.
They put it in your arm.
It's like under the skin or whatever. That's scary in a lot of ways. Now there's like Julia Fox can she'll eventually they'll start acting again. I bet you Emily Ratatouille ends up acting in the next couple of years. She'll get brought in for art house films.
Yeah. I just think that when someone like Emrata says Hollywood is effed.
Yeah. She's right.
She's right on accident. She doesn't mean it in the way that we mean it.
Yeah,
she said, she said, right now I'm not interested in men's point of views because they're lies. And I don't mean infidelity. This is an effed up world. Hollywood is effed up and it's dark. I had a hard time even being at a party like that, but then having a part of me that was so connected to it was even harder. Yeah. Talking about when her husband, like they were like toward the end of her marriage, her husband was like drunk at a party and encouraged this part's dark actually. She said that the way her husband glided through the room full of men when two years before those women had been kissing Harvey Weinstein's ring, metaphorically, encouraging young female clients to take meetings with Harvey Weinstein in hotel rooms.
Does anybody believe that there isn't just a replacement Harvey Weinstein?
She hated that her husband was connected to all of these men. This is the thing. She's saying Hollywood is effed because the men in it hate women. And it's like, do you think that the men in Hollywood represent men as a whole? You live in an incredibly insulated point of view if you think that. Yeah. Like maybe you're totally valid in saying that, but Hollywood men are the worst men in society.
There is an idea of what entertainers are like, and some are like that, but it's not reflective of people. And the entertainers that become successful, there are certain personality traits that they have that helps them become successful. And a lot of times those things are not conducive to trusting relationships and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying everyone, but that's not that's not reflective of the population.
What kind of traits?
So if you're in a relationship with someone, you can't be like, well, I'm going to do this because it's best for my relationship. Yeah. You're going to do stuff that's best for your career. Yeah. And those kind of decisions, they build up in a relationship, you know? And so you're going to get people that will make those decisions, that will choose their going out and networking and being around people and going out and behaving badly and et cetera, so that way they can be among the people that can help their career.
You're killing me,
Smalls.
Thank you.
And I think a problem is like a lot of what they end up promoting is stuff that they value.
Every time that starts, you kind of go, there's like a flinch.
You have to brace yourself.
You get used to it eventually. That means that the shows and movies and things and values that they end up promoting are values that are beneficial to them, not values that are actually beneficial to the average everyday person.
I think you're right, but I think that also the type of personality that it takes. You have to be a certain level of ambitious.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to go and be in places where maybe there's some questionable behavior going on about in people that you're supposed to be friendly with or whatever.
Would you say you relate to that?
Pardon me?
Do you relate to that?
I don't relate to it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that it happens. By saying that I relate to it kind of implies that I partake in that.
No.
But I definitely.
I mean, like the way she's saying she watched the behavior of other people that was disturbing.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of behavior like that. Absolutely, and it's not just in the entertainment industry, but it tends to be people that excel. People that are at the top of their field and stuff like that. There are personality traits that help them get there, and a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, they're not the personality traits that make a relationship work.
Well, also, like, that type of type A person has to, whether you want to call it stepping on their toes or just putting their own needs first, end up rubbing a lot of people the wrong way because it's kind of like the stereotypical memes about the idea of like you have to not care what people think about you, which is always framed in a way as like people are going to say things about you that aren't true, but just don't worry about it. When actually what it could mean for them is that they're saying things that are true. You just still also can't care what people think about you. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think also the funny thing is for actors, they have to be as fragile as a lot of them tend to be because of how vulnerable the profession makes them, the actual act of acting, the profession of acting. They have to be very good at taking rejection because they get rejected constantly. When you go to thousands of auditions and you get maybe a couple of roles and that's all you end up getting, we're always microanalyzing like the smallest percentile of these people, which are the ones that are actually successful, when there's thousands, if not millions, of other actors in Hollywood that aren't getting any roles. Those are
called waiters.
Yes, they're waiters, and they do Viagra commercials every once in a while, and that's about it.
That Viagra commercial is going to pay the bills. That's making it.
Yeah. So it's like, then we wonder why when they come out on social media and they're touchy and they don't take criticism well, I think they're kind of rubbed raw from the profession that they do, on top of the fact that they just don't live the lives that normal people live, that you and I would live.
I think that Emrata is just pathologically obsessed with men and male attention, whether it's positive or negative, and can't stop talking about it.
And she should maybe hold off on these opinions until she learns to hold her child properly.
Yeah.
She's
support the head.
There is
please.
No pictures of her.
Support his little neck. He doesn't have the musculature to hold his head up when he's only like 6 months old.
She's like holding it by the arm like a Raggedy Ann doll. Like, come on, dude. I don't know. For her,
always is such a weird.
Do you think that we're past the age now where it used to be kind of beneficial for actors to be the stronger silent type, meaning that like there was a level of professionalism in staying quiet? You were seen a certain way for being someone you could understand that they held the secrets of the industry, and there's no benefit to that anymore.
Are you talking about?
Think about a Margot Robbie. I'm sure she's got some stories she could tell us, but she doesn't tell us because she's making money.
Yeah.
She's got, she can be seen as somebody who can promote your movie, be an A-list celebrity, and also, keep the secrets that Hollywood has likely shown her.
Is she A-list?
Margot Robbie's is close to an A-list. Yeah, her and Gal Gadot are as close to A-list female celebrities.
I would say Gal is. I wouldn't say Mar.
I think I would say Gal is more B than A.
Really?
Margot's A.
I see Margot as A-list. I see them both. I see
Anya
them both
Taylor-Joy is A.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, them and I used to see
and Anna
Emily,
de Armas.
or yes, also Emily Blunt used to be that way. I think she's kind
Not
of
anymore.
Getting older now, and she's the one married.
Yeah,
to John
but I mean,
Krasinski,
age doesn't have anything to do with.
But I'm saying, but she's not transitioning into the roles as quickly as a lot of the other actors who do that.
Okay.
Though she did do, I guess, Quiet Place Part 2 and stuff like that. But I don't see Emily Blunt nearly as much as I see Anya Taylor-Joy these days. So I see that a lot of those actors would be expected to keep the secrets of the industry. And a lot of the young talent don't keep the secrets.
Okay.
Does that seem realistic to like now when you think about it, a producer can't just willy-nilly, that's a horrible choice of words, like just proposition these actresses because you never know which one's going to end up with a podcast and no F's to give that's going to speak about it, right? So maybe that changes the culture eventually.
It's just annoying because she's not speaking out about Harvey Weinstein because she's some kind of moralist in Hollywood. She's speaking about it because she hates men.
Yeah.
If Harvey Weinstein weren't part of the picture, she would still be talking about men and how much they hate women and how they're the root of all evil.
She fails the Bechdel test every single episode.
Every episode of her podcast is about hating men. Every single one.
Does that type of generalization bug you? Like, one of the problems that I have doing the show a lot of times is like I kind of grapple between the ideas. Like a lot of times if we're talking about a celebrity and their interpersonal life, right? I like to extrapolate that outwards to talk more about what the concepts behind it are, whether it's relationship issues, how things differ between the rich and the famous in their lives. Like when we were talking about Taylor Swift, there's a unique case of somebody who's financially incentivized to break up with you because she will make more money by breaking up with you and making music. I find that concept fascinating.
You find the concepts fascinating because you're a guy. I find the people interesting, and her breaking up with Joe Alwyn as an individual.
Yeah,
that's interesting too.
It's a weird type of dichotomy but at the same time, I also feel like we tend to generalize too much, and that's not good either. Like, you shouldn't just be hating men. You should be talking about specific situations in which she had bad interactions with men and then talk about that, but not extrapolate those discussions to mean all of the male populace.
Well, yeah, she also doesn't bother to look at how she's inviting certain types of behavior from men.
I do hate stink bugs. I'm fine with saying that with a broad brush. I do hate stink bugs.
It's always like the man-hating women are always the ones that tolerate bad behavior from men the most.
Yeah.
So I'm just tired of hearing about it.
Also, let's face it, she just wasn't getting calls back, and that's quitting. It's like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Yes,
that's what it is. You said like you haven't had like this is like your first regular job, like 9-to-5 job in like a long time because you've been performing for so long. Is there a music equivalent to that? You can't fire me, I quit.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, no. I mean, for me, it's like I own all the roommates, so I can't get fired. Because
somebody could like not let you do a gig, and you could be like you could be going to a venue, and they'd be like, "We don't want you performing here." You'd be like, "Well, you can't make me not perform here. I quit."
I guess that could happen.
You should put CEO in your bio.
No.
CEO of All That Remains.
Have you read my bio? It says something along the lines of I yell at a stick. So
I don't know. Like she's who's more interesting, her or Julia Foxx?
Julia Foxx.
More interesting?
Yeah.
Because her takes are more unhinged.
Yeah, she's
like,
less.
It feels like Julia Foxx like gives more unhinged takes because she wants to upset you, which I actually kind of find funny. Like right now, I keep talking about how I'm actually laughing at all the Dylan Mulvaney stuff because it just feels like a troll to me.
I mean, the Dylan Mulvaney stuff is, I really think that he's just about the social media, just about attention. There's no there's no LGBT in there at all. It's just about like, I mean, maybe he's gay, yeah, but like, it's just like, how can I get
Makes
people
you wonder
to look
how
at me?
much overlap there is in other situations between those two things.
I wonder.
Also, people in the chat are saying Julia who? Yes, that is a good question. Who is Julia Foxx? We should have a shirt that says who is Julia. We should have a shirt that says who is Julia Foxx.
Her and her ex-boyfriend.
Yes. All right, we got some super chats there.
Tech said Kanye West AI country song.
Is that a thing?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, they are.
That is amazing.
I'm gonna look that up later. Disco Jensen said, if I were the creative type, I would totally make memes for PC, but I am not a degenerate that hangs out on Reddit threads. Totally understandable. That's why I'm saying, if you're active on Twitter, hashtag PCC meme review.
Yep.
Just do it.
And if you want to send cute pictures of animals, of your animals, I'm down. We can start doing, and include the animal's name so that I know who to shout out if we so use the picture or the video.
Yes. No ugly pets, though. That's the rule.
It's. Do you think that's a controversial?
Some of you have some ugly dogs.
Oh, do you think this is a controversial topic? So you mentioned earlier, you said there are ugly babies. That used to be a controversial topic. You used to not be allowed to say that there were ugly babies. Do you think that's true? That there are in fact
Not
ugly...
allowed. I mean, everyone knew it.
I think there's definitely ugly babies, and I don't think that I think the idea of that you shouldn't be allowed to discuss ugly babies is wrong.
Discuss. I mean, as a concept, but if it's an individual
Yes.
baby, I don't go after the individual
You
baby.
never tell the parent that their baby
No.
is
Or
the
tell
ugly
the parent,
baby.
no.
Unless you're looking to fight them.
There's a great episode of the show Leverage where they have a character named Parker who's a thief who's very autistic. Like she's very clearly like what would be called neuroatypical now.
Neurodivergent.
And basically in the show they make her go on jury duty because she's so bad at dealing with people that they need her to like learn to connect with regular humans. Oh, there's a $20 one right there.
Dark Gift Comics Presents said horrible writing and agenda are killing entertainment and culture. We need to build culture in the places that cultivate them. We have Pariah, Blood and Mud graphic novel funding now and are building drop tunes to fight Bandcamp.
Dark Gift, we talk on Twitter sometimes. Like if I see that tweet later, if you've been tweeting about it, I will retweet it, which would be very cool. But in this episode, right, they have Parker go on jury duty because she's bad at dealing with people, and they're trying to get her to like figure it out. And this old lady's like showing her pictures of her kids, and she gets to a picture of like her like granddaughter, and she goes, "Oh, what's wrong with that one?" She basically calls the kid ugly to the old lady, and she's like, "What?"
Yeah. Bobcat said, I wouldn't let Mary drive either. Have you seen how she is with shopping carts? Now imagine her trying to park a car. I won't deny I was having some trouble parallel parking earlier today. Not my strong suit.
I saw the last time we were at Walmart, I saw a guy do the thing where like the cart got stuck when he was trying to pull one out, right? Okay. And he like pulled on it, and then finally it's like when somebody like lets go of the rope in tug of war, and he flies out, and dude almost got hit by a car because he was like pulling so hard to get this car out, and I was like, the whole time it was crazy.
He was okay though.
He was okay.
Hobbit said, Babylon, he has an article on 8 ways you can tell you're demon possessed. Mary made the list at number 5. Look it up.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the Babylon B?
Is it the Babylon B?
Is it about being pale? Is this just more racism?
That's just rude. Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back. I want to talk about Harry Potter, and there's a bunch of stuff here, guys. So I'm gonna try to break it down in chunks here because it just seems to be one of those topics that's such a hot potato, and it's so annoying that I actually ended up agreeing with some of the people that were talking about this on Twitter, which I didn't initially agree with. So they have officially announced the release of the Harry Potter series, which will be 7 seasons long over on HBO. Or I'm sorry, it'll be called Max by the time that comes out because it won't be called HBO Max.
Unless
anymore.
if we're lucky, they cancel it before 7 seasons.
Yeah, right? So the number one thing that I thought was funny about this is they keep bragging in all of the promotional material, calling it a faithful adaptation, which I just love that that's not even the standard.
It says Max's commitment, not Max as in a person, HBO Max's commitment to preserving, we've got a
$20 one from
$20 from Schrodinger's Effery. They said, Phil, who would you say is the most influential metal band of the 90s, and why is it Pantera?
Well, it's Pantera, and it's because they were essentially the only metal band that was playing like Civic Center sized places throughout all of the 90s. Like metal really died. It was that and underground death metal bands and stuff that were keeping metal alive. So
sorry to go off topic, but have you watched Metalocalypse?
Yes.
You like it?
Yeah, they're cool. They're fun. We did a tour with them like a long time ago. Like,
wait, what?
We did a
I thought
tour.
it was just a show.
No.
Death Clock is real?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Well,
it's like the Gorillas?
It's 4 people. It's Brendan Small.
The monkeys.
Brendan Small actually plays, and when they play, like the lights on the guys that are on stage are very dark, and there's a big LED screen that they play. They play like video of the cartoon behind them, but they're actually on stage playing it. Gene Hoglan plays drums. Brendan Small plays guitar and sings. I don't know who does the lead guitar, and I don't know.
Are
who
they the
plays
voice
bass.
actors or no?
Brendan Small is the voice actor for like most of the people in it. I don't remember if he does all of them, but he does most of the band.
Okay.
I don't think that he does like Tukey and I don't think he does the bass player. But he does murder. He does everyone else.
Where does System of a Down and Slayer fall into this category?
They don't at all.
They don't.
No.
What do they call?
Well, System of a Down's not really a metal band.
No.
They're more of an alt rock band, or heavy, but they're not really a metal band. I was never a big fan of System of a Down myself. Slayer is like the atypical, or the perfect thrash metal band, I guess. They Slayer puts out Slayer records. They sound like Slayer records. There are some that are better than others, but they're always Slayer records.
Where's Gwar?
Gwar is a heavy metal band, but they're very theatrical. Yeah. They're closer to Deathclock in that there is imagery and theatrics that go along, whereas Slayer, it's just Slayer, and then there's fire on stage.
Yeah.
Sometimes blood rains down on them.
All right.
Sorry. So
yes.
Anyway, HBO Max promises a faithful adaptation of Harry Potter. They said HBO Max's commitment to preserving the integrity of the books, this is from J.K. Rowling. HBO Max's commitment to preserving the integrity of my books is important to me, and I'm looking forward to being a part of this new adaptation, which will allow for a degree of depth and detail only afforded by a long-form television series.
It's kind of like when Chris Rock does the bit about people bragging about not going to jail. He goes, "You're not supposed to go to jail, you low expectation having motherfucker. You're supposed to be faithful. The adaptation should always be faithful."
This is obviously a response to Rings of Power, though.
Yes.
Right? They thought this through. They knew what kind of backlash was on the horizon because people have been burned before. They know what to expect.
Yeah.
And immediately they felt like they needed to harp on the fact that it's authentic and has
Halo 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's happened so many times, but Rings of Power is one that had like one of the biggest impacts. And I today saw this hashtag that started trending called hashtag respect for Tolkien. And this was like a planned trending term that Tolkien fans wanted to get out there because, there are multiple reasons. One is the 20th anniversary of Return of the King, but also because of the announcement that Warner Brothers is going to also adapt new Lord of the Rings movies, which is another big red flag. And everyone is just tired of the franchise bullshit.
Yeah, I posted on Twitter. I basically said, even if the Harry Potter series does Hogwarts Legacy numbers, it won't matter. The true magic was gone the moment the IP became politicized. It was born out of a more innocent time that is no longer here. I hope the adaptation is faithful, but I don't expect the emotion to be the same. And people were kind of getting on me, and I actually ended up kind of agreeing with them. I didn't phrase it properly, in which I basically should have said that for me, the magic is gone, right? It won't matter to me the same way. But there were plenty of people, and people got in me in the comments. They're like, I love it as much as I did the day I got into it. Get off Twitter. The people that care about J.K. Rowling are only on Twitter. And if you go out into the real world, that's not what you're going to see. You're going to see nothing but people that love it. I said, that might be true. Fantastic Beasts movies did less money each and every time. So I don't know if it's 110% what you're saying, but I do agree that I could have phrased it better, and they're probably right that, yes, even the guy from HBO, Casey Bloys, says basically they double down on J.K. Rowling and say the discussion about her being a problem is a very online discussion, which was a fantastic phrasing. He's like,
it is.
Yeah, you sound too online, bro.
It is.
It's subtle insult.
Yes, it is.
But it is true. It's like, as much as people will get wrapped up in things that are happening on Twitter or whatever, or maybe on your Facebook feed. I don't know if that kind of stuff.
I don't use Facebook anymore. I got rid of that. That's more toxic than any. I don't want to see a bunch of aunts arguing. I don't want to see aunts, uncles, and nephews arguing with each other. So I do think that if people, when you get off the internet and go do human things, it's as much as people, say it as to knock someone, really get off the internet, go outside, do things in the real world. People are not going to run up to you and scream in your face about some
crap that you posted or some thought that you had as you're walking down the street or whatever. Touch grass. It's good for you.
And I told them, I said, look, you guys could be right. Like I'm willing to admit you could be 110% right on this. But I do believe that for me, it's not even to do with the political side of it. It's just the adaptation. Like once the books are what matter to me, I don't really care.
Well,
like
J.K. Rowling controversy aside, franchise fatigue is real, and people are voicing that looming fear that some chronically online person involved in the development of these new movies or this new show is going to politicize the content in how about like race swapping one of the original characters from Harry
they're
Potter.
Already asking whether that's going to happen.
Or doing a Rings of Power Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Like
I can't wait for that one.
And it's just doomed. And the J.K. Rowling controversy exists because she's alive. Imagine if Tolkien were alive right now. It'd be 10 times worse.
Oh my God, he would say something. How old? What year did he pass away?
In the 60s?
Oh my goodness,
there's only one recording of his voice.
Yeah, I guarantee he'd say something racist and that'd be it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's no doubt that he does, it's proven, of course, that he has opinions that most of these chronically online SJWs find abhorrent because he was a man of faith and a white guy in the 20th century.
He also had opinions that were typical at the time that he was alive.
Yeah.
If you listen to even the people that were like fighting against racism back then, they sounded racist to modern ears. Yeah. Like it was normal to say like colored people, but now that's a racist term, but like that's the way that people talked when they weren't trying to be racist. There was no intent. So it's like to modern ears that stuff does sound racist, but a lot of times there were people that didn't mean it to be, racist.
I heard somebody explain why that's changed. They say it the other way around because you put the humanity before the identity. That was kind of fascinating to hear an explanation as to why that was changed.
I don't think that it's to put the humanity.
I'm saying what their explanation was.
And the reason is because when it comes to like social justice stuff, the focus has to be on the color, not on the humanity. Yeah. Like the liberal idea is focus on the person first. Like the progressive woke idea is to focus on the color first.
So and I do think that the biggest enemy that's going to be here has got nothing to do with fans. It's going to be all about journalists who are going to astroturf a bunch of anti-J.K. Rowling. The tweets are already coming in. From Vulture, critic...
Media is the enemy of the American people.
Says, the faithful adaptation of Harry Potter announced with absolute bullish, craven disdain for Rowling's political impact is bad, they're saying.
She's had no political impact if you're a normal person.
If you interview an actor or filmmaker or executive involved with the Harry Potter TV show and don't lead with a question about J.K. Rowling leading a hate group, you're done out of the art club.
Leading a hate group.
Yep.
Leading a hate group because she's just like,
What's
women
the name
are
of the
women.
Group? I wonder.
What is the hate group?
The House Self-Liberation Front. 10 years of a Harry Potter series with Rowling as executive producer is just 10 years of press events dragging her anti-trans agenda back into the news cycle. The doom and gloom is real with this one. Like they love it. They're activists first. They don't give a crap about the show or not.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I saw a tweet that pointed out why fantasy is targeted more than other genres with social justice narratives. And I think you can distill it down to this, that fantasy plays on the differences between groups a lot, and that's something that you're not allowed to address anymore. Mm-hmm. This tweet said, people like fantasy, which of course includes Dungeons and Dragons, in part because it features hierarchy, inequality, group differences, faith and magic, duty, traditional gender roles. It's in many ways a repudiation of the modern world. Stripping it of those defining features kills the fun. That's what Rings of Power tried to do. I can't help but think that's what this new Harry Potter TV show is going to do. That's what any new Lord of the Rings content is going to do, invariably, because we're so inhuman now that we can't make human stories that resonate with us anymore.
And to take something that's not modern and make it modern actually destroys everything that was beautiful about it to begin with, because it allows you to escape from the crap you're dealing with now. Also, there's this fantastic article that, as far as I'm concerned, is a threat. It says, can child actors be cast in the Harry Potter series without their lives being ruined?
Yeah, no one wants to be the second guy that plays Harry Potter. On screen, at least.
Why would anyone, like, think about the parent, like, now that kid is going to have to, maybe this is what ends up, like, changing the culture, because these kids will have to be, like, pro J.K. Rowling in some fashion. They're not going to do 10 years of interviews where they have to dodge these questions.
Yeah.
This kid, some poor 11-year-old kid is going to get hired to play Harry Potter and is going to be, much like we were talking about Mr. Beast being thrust into the political spotlight now because of what's happening with his company, with Chris,
it's a type of like intellectual and emotional terrorism that no adult should have to undergo, but especially no child should be even involved in. No child should even fully understand the subject matter that J.K. Rowling is controversial for.
Yeah.
That's not even something that they should be taught about at an age like that. It's just not appropriate. But you know that the media knows no bounds. Like, they're socially maladjusted freaks.
Yeah.
So they will expect compulsory condemnation of the story's creator.
Like, half the articles that I'm reading are all things that are basically them. It's a bunch of people who think that they could run a company the size of Warner Brothers, saying like, this is a mistake, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, it's a gazillion-dollar franchise. It does them no good. They lose money by not developing new material with it. They're actively losing money by doing that. The theme parks alone, like that seemed to be the good litmus test for me, right? Like, I see videos of people who go to like the Wizarding World, who go to Universal Studios, right? And it's just as popular as it ever was. I guess I could say that I was wrong. Like, right, I think that the magic is gone for me, but for kids, sure. Like they might. I don't know if kids love Harry Potter. Is that from the stats The stats that I looked up said that it is less popular among Gen Z, but it wasn't by a huge margin. It was by like 8 to 10% less, but that's still 8 to 10% less of a lot of people. Like, it's still a crap ton of people. And the franchise is just worth too much money, and we're just going to have 10 years of them complaining about this. Like, I almost want Rowling to just give in.
I wonder if, like...
For the sake of me not having to listen to these people complain.
I wonder if the complaining will stop before the end of the 10 years. I wonder if society's, like, the kind of temperature on that kind of stuff will change in the next 10 years, or if it's going to be, like, actually 10 years of trans people just crying because they don't like J.K. Rowling. Can you believe that that's a thing that really happens? Like, people make a huge stink over Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter people are weird, man. I have a very normie friend, this girl that I'm dating, and like, she looks at people the way that they behave, and she sees the Harry Potter people, and she's just like, how can you even talk to them, because it's so insane.
It's like Disney adults in a lot of ways. Yeah. The people that whole lives are built around Disney.
Yeah, and that's crazy too.
Like, I mean, that's this is what we get for raising our kids with IP rather than parents.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Intellectual parent property. That's essentially what it's become now, right? And they use Harry Potter as like an allegory for literally everything in life. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you see it all over politics, and it's just exhausting. Yeah, because they take all the wrong lessons from the stories anyways.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's what they love about those types of stories, right? Is they can the general message can be manipulated however you want it to. Because my favorite thing is what they do is when they actually Voldemort people on Twitter, where they refuse to say people's names. So they actually got that from Harry Potter, where they basically turn people into he who must not be named by just not naming them on Twitter.
Yeah, all the Star Wars stuff, when they talk like the government is the rebellion. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. The government's the rebels? Are you serious? Come on.
So look, I guess I was wrong. I will wait to go and see. It'll be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see what the numbers do for this show. But the casting is going to be a hoopla. The every press release will be an absolute shit show.
It'll be a miracle if this show is even passable. The Rowling gender controversy is so much less interesting to me than shitting on the fact that this is just another regurgitation. No. I'm so bored. Like, just make something new.
What would you like?
Well, wait a minute.
Not my job to figure it out. No, it's their job.
I'm not asking you to figure it out. I'm literally asking you, like, what interests you and what would you like to see get made? Like, it doesn't have to be a property, a type of story. Like, some people talk about how they're glad Westerns are coming back. Like, well, what type of genre? Is there any type of stories that you would like to see adapted? Anything like that?
I want to see more stuff like Old Country for No Man, or Old Country for
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. That's it. Stuff like that. Stuff that's really grim, and because I just feel like that's the stuff that's compelling. Yeah.
I liked the thrillers of the 90s and the early 2000s. There's no really budget for thrillers anymore, right? Because there's no DVD sales to make them profitable anymore. So a lot of those movies I was watching Kiss the Girls, The Negotiator, The Fan with Wesley Snipes, and like there was a whole genre of movies that's now kind of essentially gone away because there's just no market for it in the same way, or it ends up on streaming and it's made with such a generic like trailer and cover. Just doesn't interest me in the same way. So I would like to see more of that.
Before we move on, I just want to read some comments from the announcement video of the Harry Potter series. One said, I hope that in this series, Dumbledore calmly asks Harry if he put his name in the Goblet of Fire.
Yep. Because that is not what happened.
But most of them are saying that they need to do justice to the source material because of Rings of Power.
Don't worry,
I'm guessing.
It's also going to be
cautiously optimistic. Yeah.
There was a couple of reasonable articles written like, how the hell are they going to get the CG? These kids, they're on a clock now. Rings of Power, everyone's an adult. As soon as you hire these kids, you're on a clock.
Yeah.
You've got only so much time before their voices start to change, and they have to figure out how they're going to do it. The CGI that will be required to do this show will be extensive.
That's where the voice work from AI comes in. Just edit out the voice cracks.
Yeah, they'll probably have to do that.
They also are saying they don't want Ron's best moments to be given to Hermione in this adaptation. They want more of the book moments that weren't in the movies.
Here's the other thing. Everyone talks about them race swapping Hermione. No. It's going to be Ron that gets race swapped because Ron is a redhead.
He's a ginger.
So they're going to get rid of Ron. And he's going
eradicated.
Eradicated.
He's gone. I'm telling you.
I'm having some moments today.
It's a good day for you.
Look,
they're gonna get rid of Ron. They will race swap him. They will race swap Ron, and we're gonna get that or non-binary Hermione, and we're gonna have they'll get Dylan Mulvaney to play Hermione.
They also want more on Ginny.
Yeah. She's actually a very, very interesting character in the books too, and it's interesting given that she ends up with Harry in the end. But that is almost one of those things where a greedy executive would try to make a spin-off. A greedy executive would try to...
They're all greedy executives. Yeah. Okay, super chat time?
Let's do it.
It's over 9,000. Speaking of greedy, let's read all of the messages people paid to send us. It's over 9,000 said, from 2000 to 2002, the Cincinnati Reds ballpark was called Synergy Field.
Sounds horrible. Like it just sounds boring.
Theros said, hey, Brett and Mary, glad to see Phil on the show again. Loved the podcast you did with Finn McKenty the other day, Phil.
Cheers.
Shane H. Wilder said, stuck at work tomorrow, so I won't get to see y'all in Austin. When y'all come out... Wait, what? When y'all come down, bring the allergy meds. You'll need them. Also send Mary to 6th Street to evangelize the heathens.
I watched. Are they gonna send you down to 6th Street instead of man on the street interviews? It's gonna be evangelize on the street with Mary.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a whole lot of running around.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be like get there, run to the Airbnb, run to the thing, run back to the Airbnb to go to sleep because we have to catch a flight the next day.
Run back to the airport.
Yeah, it's all very, very short time. So
I did watch an amazing Instagram video the other day about this guy. He's like me when I get allergies, and he opens the door and it becomes a picture of himself, and he punches himself in the face, and then he's like falling over, and he goes, oh, and he goes to take some Benadryl. He takes the Benadryl. He opens the door, and the Benadryl punches him in the face, and just knocks him out.
yep, I'm just sleeping.
Yeah.
Mike Peterson said pit bull dogs are what would happen if guns could actually kill.
That's a take. Was that your?
What does that even mean?
I don't even.
I like that you are Switzerland on this topic, my friend. You're staying out of it.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean,
Are you hiding your opinion, or you don't have one?
no, I mean, I have a pit bull.
Okay.
I'm just not interested in fighting with. I'm not
and,
interested in fighting with people
fair
about
point.
like whether or not. Like I have an AR-15, a multiple of them. I'm not interested in fighting with people as to whether or not I'm going to keep my gun. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping my dog too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna protect my dog with my gun.
There you go.
James Orenthal Wen said Mei is people of paleness, parentheses, pop, culture crisis.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm going tanning on the way home now.
Carnell said, I don't meme full time, but after Mary's meme shaming of the chat, I've been rejuvenated and now aiming to seek justice for my fellow crisis actors. The meme wars have begun. That is all. Hashtag PCC meme.
I kind of
I'm
like
glad.
how like into the shaming the people are.
Into the shaming?
They definitely seem to be like into the shaming.
They
There's some
enjoyed it.
BDSM vibes
yeah.
going on there.
It's a loving correction. No one is being shamed here, but I do expect results. Shane H. Wilder said, if you think that everyone's against you, maybe take a hard look in the mirror. Hollywood is effed, but not for the reasons they're saying.
Yeah, it's a narcissistic take on their point. On
Oats.
Ratatouille's point. Also, somebody in the chat says Ratatouille sounds like a fake name. I'm like, that's because it is a fake name.
Oats Red Swoon said, Phil, just saw your interview with Finn McKenty last night. Was very cool to see since I wasn't sure of his politics. Glad he was willing to chat with you.
Yeah, he's a reasonable dude. You know, I imagine he was probably a normal Democrat in the 2000s, in the aughts. He considered himself a Democrat, and like most people, when the cell phone got into everyone's pocket and everyone was connected to the internet constantly, and the whole woke thing really started to kick off like mad. That's when he was like, "Yo, this is a little crazy here."
Before we read the rest, I do want to show Phil the Arnie article real quick. This
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, this is a fantastic story, guys. It's another sign of government meddling and overreach. Arnie, everyone's favorite actor. I never say the last name. Tim doesn't say the last name either. Giant pothole good deed backfires on him. So recently, he said that there was a pothole that was stuck in their neighborhood for like 3 weeks, and he's like, nobody's filling it in, and he filled it in himself. Well, apparently that was a mistake.
Arnold.
Yes,
He was
you'll
not
be
supposed to
fine.
do that.
Yeah.
Says this location is not a pothole, said a spokesperson for the city of Los Angeles. They said it was in fact, it was a permitted workspace for them to, it's called a service trench for SoCal gas to get to.
Yeah.
And I don't think he gets in trouble for it, but it's a womp 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 for sure.
Well, why does it take SoCal Gas 3 weeks to get into it?
It's a very good question.
Why do they make the hole and then SoCal Gas can't get there and fix it
Not due to be finished till the end of May.
to the end of May? So just let's make a mess here.
Deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it.
You people deal with it. Private business could have done this faster. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine if it wasn't for LA's bureaucracy, because most likely they did contract out. It's not LA doesn't actually build the roads. Like there's no like Los Angeles County road building, division. Like they have the DOT, but they hire out to asphalt paving companies, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of the DOT being able to schedule it in an efficient manner.
California is going to California.
They're gonna.
Always will.
They're gonna.
I think this just shows that whether it's the government or a private individual or company, everyone's mess up.
There is a lot of messing up. There's a lot of inefficiencies that go on in the world.
All right.
Trauma Llama said, sorry if this was already said. I doubt Cleopatra was black, but the ancient Egyptians who actually carved the Sphinx were most likely black.
Okay.
Not knowledgeable enough to know. Biddy Beasley said, I'm going to throw this out there to refute the silly gang in chat. Out of Africa has been debunked by a million people in a million ways. Mongrelization is a historical fact.
Okay.
I don't really know what that refers to, so no input. Savrix said, imagine you needed a remaining population to be dumbed down on consumption forever. A permanent slave will not revolt against being a slave if they believe they're the highest beings.
Would you agree with that? Like, I would need time to dissect that. Also, there's one above that right there from It's Over 9,000.
It wasn't above it. It's the next one.
Oh, on mine it's above it. Weird.
Said there was a Seinfeld episode with an ugly baby. Jerry described it as a must-lie situation. No, it's not wrong to lie in those situations. Schrodinger, or no, this was next one's from Graga. They said, Brett, check out Limp Bizkit's Out of Style video.
Very good.
Probably
video.
Tom Cruise's best work.
What is it? I've never seen it.
Deep fakes.
Oh, is it deep fakes?
It's great.
All right,
Okay.
I'll have to check it out.
Hobbit said there's actually collections of interviews with Tolkien out on YouTube. I recommend checking them out. He's Gandalf in the modern day.
Cool.
DD Megadunu97 said, hey y'all, just wanted to ask Phil what his favorite punk band is and why he chose Zeke. What is that?
Who's your favorite punk band?
Don't like punk rock.
Ah, okay.
Does he know that already?
I don't
He's
think so.
trolling you? Okay.
I think that it's probably someone in a band called Zeke, and they're trying to get their band's name said
I
on
have
Pop
no
Culture
idea.
Crisis.
Baron of Gray Matter said, why do you pay attention to the complaining? I wouldn't even know about this unless you brought it up. Stop giving them attention. Deride and ignore.
Do
you run a podcast?
He's literally telling you stop doing the podcast. Like, the whole point of this podcast is to, like, see stuff on the internet
backseat driver.
and like dunk on it. He's just like, stop doing Pop Culture Crisis, man.
How about we
watch a
not pay
Tool
attention
show.
to your complaining and not read your super chat?
Look,
How about that?
I get it. I get what he's saying because a lot of times, like, what you put in your brain, like what you feed yourself, can dictate your mood and your personality. I get it. That's why I tend to use, outside of the stuff that a couple of things that I've been posting lately, I use my social media to post about stuff that I really, really like. And it's a little bit different. And when you're doing stuff like this, which is ostensibly water cooler talk, it's stuff that not everyone's going to agree on, or it's stuff that, at least subject matter wise, you think is interesting enough to discuss. I get what you're saying. And yes, in a lot of ways, starving them of attention would be the number one way to do that. But I'm not here to make it anything that deep. We're not saving the world here. We're just having fun and talking.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast. We're just having fun and talking.
Biddy Beasley said, Phil, thoughts on Meshuggah?
Meshuggah, they're great. They're phenomenal. They're a progressive death metal band from Sweden. And people are going to go ahead and have all kinds of issues with me calling them a progressive death metal band. They're a progressive metal band. Deal with it, you nerds. Because it's only nerds that are going to have a problem with it. I know you nerds.
The terminology. Savrix said, what a beautiful ghost. LOL. Thanks. Fear Me It's Brie said, y'all are fun. Thanks for making my day less boring. You're welcome.
Thank you for watching.
You're one of the few that's enjoying it, apparently.
Yeah, apparently, when
Yeah,
we're
right.
talking about stuff that is not, that's just bad and we shouldn't be
I
giving
guess we should just be
attention.
positive all the time.
I honestly, like, the number one show for me would be to just review movies and television shows that I like that are old. But, like, you subsect yourself down to such a small audience when you do that. Some of my favorite podcasts and shows never make it past their one topic because it's like, I love X-Files podcast, but once that's done, you've limited your audience there, and the only, the next show you review might not interest the people that wanted to watch your podcast about the X-Files. Like, I don't give a crap about your podcast about Young Sheldon. I care about your podcast about the X-Files.
Jane H. Wilder said, leave Tolkien, Lewis, and Chesterton alone. Their works stand for themselves. Brett, I'm tweeting you a video on the copyrights ending soon.
Oh, about new properties, things that are going into public domain? Cool.
Interesting. It's Over 9,000 said, my dad was born and raised in the 60s, and The Sandlot is a fairly accurate representation of his childhood.
Also, that kind of goes with yesterday.
Faithful.
Somebody said
Sorry.
yesterday when we were talking about, they were talking about 90s, like, what was it? Like
90s traditional values. Emrata claims to have 90s traditional values.
And somebody said Home Improvement is 90s traditional values. The show Home Improvement with Tim Allen.
Okay.
Like would have been a good example of 90s traditional values.
Okay.
Also, somebody in the chat says this show needs more negativity.
You know, recently Dylan Mulvaney went on Rosie O'Donnell's podcast, which I didn't know existed. Can you think of something worse than that?
Rosie, like
Just adding more negativity.
what would be worse than a Rosie O'Donnell Okay, I can think of it. It would be a Rosie O'Donnell like episode show, not a podcast where she sits and holds their hand the way that Drew Barrymore holds their hand when they're doing those podcasts or her show. Have you ever seen that? Like she sits there and she pretends to care about them.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain to people, I'm like, this is what actual acting is.
It's exhausting.
Like making this look real to people. I'm like, there's like 9 cameras on them.
I'm glad
and,
that
like,
on this show we just openly
Mock
hate each other.
There you go.
we get done and like Mary's like, I hate you. And I'm like, I hate you. And we don't talk the rest of the day.
Contempt is a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Fear Me It's Brie said stuffed taco peppers or chicken. Can't decide what to make for dinner, and you all seem like cultured people.
Chicken.
Chicken.
What the hell is a stuffed taco pepper?
Shut up and say chicken. Sorry.
I have to ask. I mean, if I'm going to give a fair opinion, you should make tacos.
Taco pepper.
It's just chicken is a general thing, and I'm not getting your vision.
I said chicken just because I'm like dying.
There are way too many options for chicken. I don't know what you mean by it. No Tax Good Tax said Phil may be your best guest.
Yes.
Thank you. We do have we have some great guests here on PCC though. To be honest with you,
Some great guests, some of the best guests.
the best. I can't do a Donald Trump at all.
And also like I have to get a photo I have to take a photo of someone soon. Recently, when BG Cumby was here. By the way, we need to get him to 100,000 subscribers and quick. I was trying to do like a Donald Trump thumbs up picture, and it was too high. Like it wasn't low enough. Like mine was too high. I didn't.
Yeah, he does get him down low.
I went back for comparison later.
Too eager.
Yeah, like Trump's always like.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Well, we've been meaning to shout out BG Cumby because he's so close to reaching 100,000 subscribers.
You know what that means.
Yep.
And he's been on the show before.
Yep.
So if you didn't subscribe to him then, I don't know what you're even doing with life.
And now we got one more.
Biddy Beasley said Ian is the best guest.
Oh, now they're fighting over you guys.
Hey, I got love for Ian.
Okay.
All right. Well, since you are now, in fact, the best guest on this podcast, would you like to give a shout out and let everyone know where they can find you?
So I am Phil That Remains on Twitter. The band is All That Remains. You can find our YouTube page. It's All That Remains Music. The band is All That Remains on Instagram. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. And I think the band's on TikTok. All That Remains on TikTok. Yeah, that kind of stuff. We're on the internet.
It's not that hard to find.
Yeah, I'm Phil That Remains. The band's All That Remains. We're out there.
Perfect. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived or send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. And I expect to see some better memes, more meme output from the PCC fans. And quickly.
And there's one more there from Fear Me It's Brie.
Said boring chicken or hollow peppers full of taco meat.
Honestly, both of those sound good to me.
They do both.
I think the peppers then.
All right. It has been chosen. We choose peppers with...
We decree.
We decree. All right, guys. Again, thank you for joining us today. Could you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? We did pass 55,000 subscribers the other day. We are at 55.1 right now. We are coming for Chicken City, which is sitting at 55.4, and we are going to beat Roberto Jr. eventually if it's the last thing we do. It's going to happen.
Yes.
It won't be the last thing you do.
Let's hope not, guys.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the podcast rather than watch it, felt like I was like seeing more stuff going. I was making sure nothing was happening there. You can listen to the podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.